In this video, I'm going to talk to you about brainstorming and why it doesn't work in the classroom. The reason I want to share this with you is because I am very passionate about teachers encouraging creativity in the classroom. And to do that, you need to really understand it. So in my videos, I bring you research-backed information that you can base your practice on. But before we get into brainstorming, if you're the type of teacher who's continually improving their practice and wants to be informed about creativity and how to implement it in the classroom, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and that way my weekly videos will keep you up to date. Now, brainstorming. What is brainstorming? Brainstorming is a tool used to generate ideas. For it to work, you need to generate a lot of ideas. That's the fluency or the quantity. The next thing that you need for it to work is originality. You want your ideas to be different from each other. So that's a brief description of brainstorming. But why does a teacher need to brainstorm? What are you hoping to gain from it? And depending on the way you answer those questions, it's going to speak to whether you're really trying to brainstorm or you're just seeking engagement. A lot of teachers think that the reason they want to use brainstorming is to generate ideas and participation in class. Well, those are two different things. One of them works and one of them doesn't. Generating ideas as a class is the one that doesn't work. A lot of teachers think that they're encouraging creative thinking, and by that they mean they're encouraging students to generate original ideas. But in a classroom situation, that's not what is happening. If you want your students to generate creative ideas, brainstorming is not the way to do it. If you've heard that brainstorming is the way to do it, you've been misinformed, because that is pop science. Research has proven that brainstorming is not an effective way to generate novel ideas in a group situation. Now, in a classroom, there's two specific reasons why that doesn't work. One is risk. For your students to raise their hand or call out their idea, they're going to take a risk as to whether or not the other kids will accept their idea, approve of their idea, or even understand their idea. It's not about whether you like it or not. It's about their peers. It's about the social dynamics. Now, I know a lot of teachers will say, wait a second now, I tell my kids at the start of a brainstorm that every idea is welcome. There's not going to be any criticism or judgment. And that's great that you say that, but they're not worried about judgment from you. And it doesn't matter what you say. Kids are kids. And if somebody puts forth an idea that's kind of out there relative to what the other kids think is a normally good idea, they're going to have some kind of reaction. Maybe it's a little snicker, maybe it's an eye roll, maybe it's just like a jab to the person next to them. There's going to be something. And the person that generated that idea, they're going to be aware of it. So they're not really sure they want to take that risk. And because of that, the most original ideas that are percolating around in your students' minds are not being voiced in your classroom. Now, another thing that takes place is groupthink. And it kind of ties back into risk. So if another student puts forth an idea and that idea is accepted in the sense that it's acknowledged positively, it can be something as simple like, okay, that's a great idea. Or somebody next to them like, hey, that's a cool idea. Any sort of validation like that, and the rest of the students immediately, instinctively understand that's a safe idea. So what they will do in groupthink is they will start to piggyback on that idea. So the ideas generated will become very linear in that they're directly associated and built on that idea that was accepted. And that's why you're not going to get a huge variety of ideas when you do a group or class brainstorm. It's just not going to happen. But before I go on, I want to ask you, why are you doing a brainstorm with your class? What is it that you're hoping to accomplish? What's your objective or your goal with not only the brainstorm as an activity, but the information generated as a result of the brainstorm? Because sometimes you may just be introducing a new lesson and you want to create a dialogue and engagement. That's not really a brainstorm, because a brainstorm seeks to generate a lot of ideas that are unrelated. So if you're introducing a topic, let's say on weather, and you're asking students to brainstorm about weather, Their answers are going to gravitate around types of weather, and the associations will be very linear in that way. And that's fine for introducing your topic, but just understand that it's not a brainstorm, and it would be best if you didn't say that you're going to brainstorm ideas with your students, because brainstorming is a tool that they can use, and they need to understand it just as much as you do so they can know when and how they can use it independently. So instead of saying you're going to brainstorm, you could just open up with, hey, let's talk about this. What do you think? Some sort of open-ended invitation for them to engage with you relative to a certain topic. If, on the other hand, you're seeking to help students generate creative ideas, you don't want to do that as a class. You want to do that individually. So you can still have your open-ended question or prompt, but have them respond privately, and then they can share that with a group or a partner, and then from there you could share it with the class. This way you bypass the issues of risk and groupthink, and the students are in fact all participating. They're just not all verbalizing it at the same time. From that point, you can go a step farther and help them to understand how to make a brainstorm more effective, in the sense that as they share their ideas with you, you can write them up. But as you start to recognize that ideas are related, you can put them on and say, oh, this looks like we've got a new category. Maybe this category is food. Someone else gives an idea. Oh, what category would that fit in? We don't have a category for that. Oh, okay, well, what's a new category? So they can understand as they're looking at their list of ideas they had generated, and you know and they know that they're seeking an original idea, they can go ahead and start to consider, well, we've already got 5 ideas in this one category. Do I have any ideas that are in a category different from what's on the board? In that sense, you are teaching them how to analyze and make use of a brainstorm the way that it's supposed to be used, which is to understand, out of all the information and the ideas you've generated, how do I find the original idea? But again, for that, do not start with the class as a whole. I hope this has helped clarify brainstorming for you. Before I go, I want to ask you a question. Do you have upcoming lessons where you were thinking about doing a brainstorm with the class? Ask yourself, why am I doing that brainstorm? If it's to generate original ideas, do it privately, not as a class. If the goal is to facilitate conversation, go ahead and ask that open-ended question. Go ahead and invite that dialogue. But understand that dialogue, that it is not a brainstorm. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be a brainstorm. The purpose of this video is to help you understand what a brainstorm actually is, when it works, which is individually, privately, and when it doesn't work, which is in a classroom or group situation. So you've got this brainstorming tool, and I'd really like to know how you've used brainstorming in the classroom. Go ahead and tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.